In this video, I'll demonstrate how to configure a sample table with custom columns in MyAssays Desktop. The sample table custom columns report element will allow you to specify the order of the columns, how the columns are titled, and add sample labels through qualification columns. In this video, we'll go over using the sample table custom columns report element with Multiplex data. For more information on using the sample table custom columns report element in different applications, please see the associated videos. I have open a multiplex protocol with my results already calculated. This multiplex protocol is a qualitative protocol with positive and negative interpretations reported for the final results. You can see here we have 3 analytes used in this protocol, each separated onto a sheet named with the analyte name. The interpretation column shows the final result. This interpretation column is related to the ratio column here. If the ratio is greater than 2, the result is positive. If the ratio is less than 2, the result is negative. These positive and negative results have been configured using sample labels. For more information on how to configure sample labels, please see the associated video. I'd like to include an overall results sample table displaying the sample IDs and the interpretations for each of the analytes. I'll navigate to the Properties Report tab, select Add Element, and add the sample table custom columns report element. I'd like this to appear on its own sheet named Overall Results, so I'll add that to the sheet name field. I'd also like this to appear first, so I'll move this report element to the top of my report. And here I'll make one additional change. For this assay, we're working with multiple containers, meaning multiple plates or analytes. The default configuration is to add a new sample table for each container, but for this application, I'd like to include the sample table only once, so I'll specify the Include For setting to first analyte. Now I'll select Edit to configure the columns of our custom sample table. Within the sample table columns editor, we can see the sample and position columns included by default. To report the overall results, since we've already applied sample labeling to report positive or negative to the interpretation column of the report, all we need to do is collate these columns into a single sample table. So I'll add 3 matrix columns, 1 for each analyte. I'll select Add Column and select Matrix. For the first column, I'll add the custom name Analyte 1. From the Matrix drop-down box, I'll select Interpretation. And from the Analyte drop-down box, I'll select Analyte 1. Next, I'll add a second matrix column with the custom name Analyte 2. I'll again select the Interpretation matrix, and this time I'll select Analyte 2 from the Analyte drop-down box. Similarly, I'll add another matrix column for Analyte 3, again selecting the Interpretation matrix and Analyte 3. There's one last column I'd like to add. This column will report the overall result. For this assay, if all analytes, Analyte 1, 2, and 3, have positive result designations, the overall result will be positive. To configure this column, instead of a matrix column, I'll add a qualification column. The custom name will be Overall Result, and I'd like to report this using the average, meaning that for each sample, only the average result will be displayed. I'll be using 2 conditional expressions for the rule conditions, and each of these conditions will require all 3 analyte ratio results. So let's configure those references now. The first reference will be named A, and I'll select the ratio matrix from the matrix drop-down box. I'll select Analyte 1 from the Analyte drop-down box. The second reference will be named B. I'll again select ratio, and this time I'll select Analyte 2. And the third reference will be named C, again using the ratio data for Analyte 3. Now for our rule conditions. For the first condition, if all 3 ratio results are greater than 2, the result should be positive. So for the condition expression, I'll add and A is greater than 2, B is greater than 2, and C is greater than 2, referencing the 3 references we just set up here. The label will be positive. And I'd really like these results to stand out, so I'll highlight the cell in yellow. The next condition should be labeled negative if any of the analyte ratio results are less than 2. So I'll add the condition or A is less than 2, B is less than 2, C is less than 2, with the label negative. Let's save our changes and recalculate. Now on our report, you can see the addition of an overall results sheet with the sample IDs, positions, and interpretation results for analytes 1, 2, and 3. Additionally, you can see the overall result column, displaying negative results if any of the analyte ratios were negative, and a positive result if all 3 analyte results are positive, highlighted in yellow. If you have any questions about how to use the Sample Table Custom Columns report element for multiplex assays, please email us at support@myassays.com.